Cheddar cheese is one of the most consumed cheeses in the world. Its delicious taste makes hamburgers and countless other dishes more flavorful. In the United States alone, a staggering 1.5 billion kilograms of cheddar cheese are consumed each year. This cheese is carefully crafted using age-old techniques. So, let's find out the amazing process for making cheddar cheese. Cheddar cheese is a cheese originating from England that is made from cow's milk. It was one of the first cheeses to be produced on a large scale in factories in the early 19th century, which allowed cheddar cheese to become more accessible and popular worldwide. Traditionally, authentic cheddar must be made within a 50-kilometer radius of Wales Cathedral. In the United Kingdom, about 333,000 tons of cheddar is produced each year. The cheese must be made with milk from herds that graze within 50 kilometers of the farm. It must be made using a traditional recipe and matured for a minimum of 9 months. The Gorge Cheese Company produces 60 tons of cheese per year. After a hard day of grazing, the cows head to the barn to be milked using a modern hydraulic pump. Their protein-rich milk has the perfect fat percentage for delicious cheddar cheese. These cows are selectively bred to yield milk with an ideal fat content for crafting delicious cheddar cheese, with each cow contributing over 12,000 liters of milk annually. The first step in making cheddar cheese is receiving and pasteurization of the milk. Fresh milk is quickly transported to the dairy in the center of Cheddar Village. In the morning, 2,000 liters of milk arrive from a farm located 6 kilometers away. To maintain freshness, the milk is pumped through pipes into refrigerated storage tanks with a capacity of 120,000 liters. The milk is received from suppliers and undergoes a pasteurization process to eliminate any harmful bacteria that may be present in raw milk. Next, the milk is stirred, which evenly mixes the fat throughout the milk. Pasteurization is done by heating the milk to a high temperature for a short period of time and then rapidly cooling it. This helps maintain the quality and safety of the milk and is a critical step in the production of cheddar cheese and other dairy products. Once the milk has been pasteurized, dairy cultures and rennet can be added to a 1,900-liter vat of milk that will be transformed into 8 cheeses weighing 25 kilograms each. To start the process, they heat the milk to 32 degrees Celsius, then add bacteria for fermentation. Some of these beneficial bacteria are naturally present in the milk. Dairy cultures are beneficial bacteria that help ferment the lactose in the milk, producing lactic acid and giving the cheese its characteristic flavor. To speed up this process, they add rennet. Rennet is an enzyme that is naturally produced in the stomachs of calves, but here they use a synthetic version. Rennet is an enzyme added to the milk that causes it to coagulate, turning the liquid milk into a solid mass called curd. It converts lactose sugars into lactic acid, which helps develop the flavor and initiates the coagulation process. Coagulation is simply the clustering of milk proteins. The milk solids come together to form an extraordinarily smooth and soft curd. This, finally, is what we call curd. As the milk thickens, it separates into fat and protein solids called curds and a liquid called whey. The thicker curds will be used to make cheese. After adding dairy cultures and rennet, the milk is allowed to rest for a while so the cultures and rennet can do their job and produce the curd. Once the curd has formed, it is cut into small cubes and heated. The liquid whey must be drained, so the workers cut the mixture. The smaller the curds, the more whey they release, and the harder the cheese will be. This process helps release the whey and allows the curd to compact more easily. After cutting, cheesemakers typically sow the curd while it drains on the floor. Then they raise the temperature, which accelerates coagulation and allows the whey to drain. The liquid is rich in proteins, amino acids, and sugars, so it is used as feed for the local pigs. The whey concentrate is also used to make isotonic drinks, infant milk powder, and custard. The solidified curd is placed with a paddle on a cooling table. Any remaining trapped whey must be extracted. To do this, they use a technique employed by all cheesemakers called cheddaring. This is a critical process in cheddar cheesemaking and gives the cheese its unique texture and flavor. The curd is cut into bars and stacked on top of each other. As the tower grows, the weight of each block squeezes out more whey. The layers are turned and compressed several times over a period of several hours. This helps expel the remaining whey and develops the texture and characteristic flavor of cheddar cheese. Salt is added to remove liquid and help kill unwanted microorganisms that could spoil the cheese. Salt enhances the flavor, develops the texture, helps extract moisture from the cheese, and is also a natural preservative. The curd is salted by hand to preserve it, and small pieces are shredded. Then they chop the bars to release even more moisture. This process transforms the curd into young cheese, though it remains somewhat moist. The cheeses are transferred to stainless steel molds. They are pressed in a 25-kilogram mold and left overnight. The molds have a cylindrical shape and a series of holes on the side to allow the remaining whey to drain. Once pressing is complete, the cheese is removed from the molds and left to mature. Most commercial cheeses are presented in plastic, but here each wheel is dressed with traditional cotton muslin. Microorganisms could penetrate the fabric and mold the cheese. To prevent this, butter is rubbed on both muslin and cheese. This protects the cheddar while it matures, allowing it to breathe without drying out. The secret is to let it mature in the traditional way in its own natural refrigerator in the cheddar gorge. It is placed in a maturing cave for a period of time that can vary from a few weeks to several years, depending on the type of cheddar cheese being produced. They rotate the cheese and remove any mold from it. The cheese variety is taken to the famous cave. These caves maintain constant temperature and humidity, close to 98%, which provide the perfect conditions for cheese maturation. Moisture content is a critical component and ensures that cultures and enzymes progress more quickly, producing a more complex flavor. These caves have a constant temperature just below 12 degrees Celsius, and these are limestone caves with water seeping in all the time. Humidity is usually around 98%, very high and perfect for cheese. The cheese acquires natural yeast and mold from the cave's atmosphere, giving it a delicious flavor. The strength of the cheese is determined by the aging duration. 500 cheeses weighing 25 kilograms each mature at the same time for up to 18 months. As they mature, good bacteria and enzymes slowly break down the proteins and fat, developing a sweet and tangy aroma and a creamy flavor. The longer it matures, the stronger the flavor becomes. Every 4 weeks, the cheeses are rubbed and turned. As they age, the flavors that develop become more intense. Once mature, a 25-kilogram wheel from each batch is tasted to see if the cheese is ready. When the cheese has matured sufficiently, it undergoes cutting and packaging process. The cheese is cut into blocks or slices and packaged for distribution and sale. Cheddar cheese can be used in a wide variety of dishes and recipes and is one of the most popular